All right, hello everyone. Today's lecture is going to be over dimensional analysis, also called factor label converting. This is super important in chemistry. I would say probably 75–80% of what we're going to do the rest of the year is going to deal with this style of problem solving. And if you're going on to Chem 2, we use it all the time in Chem 2. It's really just a style of problem solving and converting units, but it's a way of attacking it that makes sense in chemistry and that helps us a lot. So it is really important that you understand what's going on in this and the structure and how to do it. So if you have questions at any point, please get help from me, from somebody else, whatever you need, but make sure you understand the concepts of this as we go through it. Okay. All right. So the notes that I gave you guys are here, and it has the dimensional analysis information. So I sort of did it in in steps. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm not going to read through all the steps initially. You can do that yourself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some examples, and I'm going to read through the steps as we do the examples and just show you how the steps apply to the example, okay? I also included, both in the class resources section and the assignment itself, a copy of the conversion factors help sheet. It's 2 pages. There's the conversion factors, like the English ones on the front, and then on the back, or the second page, it has the metric to metric ones, which we're not going to do today. We'll do that tomorrow or something. Okay. All right. So let's begin here. So our first example is convert 165 pounds into kilograms. All right. So when setting this up, the concept is that we are going to, we're converting from one thing to another, right? So we want to change from pounds to kilograms, okay? You always start with a measured or given number. So we're going to start with 165 pounds here, okay? Now you can put it over 1 if you want, or just leave the bottom blank. It doesn't really matter. Okay. In the second step of the quote unquote table, sometimes you do it like in a table form. I used to do it like that. I do it like this now with the multiplying dot between, because I think this is a little less confusing. In the second step, so you're going to do another conversion fraction here. Put the label that you began with on the bottom. So I have pounds. I'm going to leave space in front of it for a number, but I'm going to put pounds on the bottom. The goal here is whatever label you want to get rid of, you put it on the bottom. You want to cancel them out. You treat the labels just like variables in algebra. Okay? You can multiply them, you can divide them or cancel them. All right. Step 3. Place the unit label that you are converting into on the top. So we want to convert into kilograms. Okay, now when you're doing this, we've got to make sure that we have a conversion so we can convert from pounds to kilograms. So we look here, and I have, under mass, I do have a kilogram to pound, so I can go directly from one to the other. Okay, so I put pounds on the bottom and kilograms on the top. Now, notice I haven't put any numbers in front yet. I just figured out which labels where my labels go, what I'm going to cancel and what I'm turning it into. Okay, now, to figure out the numbers that go in front of the labels, I go to my conversion factor sheet and I look. My conversion factor sheet, says for every 1 kilogram, there are 2.2046 pounds. So those are the numbers that go in front of those units. So in front of kilograms, I'm going to put a 1. In front of pounds, 2.2046. Okay, like that. Now, next step, excuse me, is, well, actually I was just doing the next step. Put the numbers in front of the unit conversions that make the conversions equal. Okay, we're not doing the metric to metric yet. Number 5, cancel the labels that can cross reduce. So I've got pounds up here and pounds down here. So I'm gonna cancel, the pounds cancel out. Okay. Check the label you have left. If it is the unit label you are trying to convert into, you can go to step number 8. So do we want to be in kilograms? Is that our final label? Yes. So we go to step 8. Multiply all numbers across the top and divide by any numbers on the bottom. So, and you can ignore ones because any number multiplied by 1 or divided by 1 is just itself. So I'm just going to start with a 165. I don't have to do times 1. I'm going to do divided by, because it's on the bottom, divided by 2.2046, and I get my answer. Okay, now, so 8, 4, 3, 5, blah, 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 blah. Okay, there's more to it, but that's going to be enough to do what we need to do. Number 9. Put your answer into the correct scientific notation and or correct significant digits if necessary. We don't need scientific notation. It's not a really big or a really small number. We do need the correct number of significant digits and the correct label. So figuring out how many significant digits our answer needs. Okay. These actually, the conversions for this are really easy. It's all multiplying and dividing. So the multiplying and dividing rule is the smallest number of significant figures from the measurements. Remember, a conversion factor like this is an exact number. So that doesn't affect our significant figures. So the only measurement that we're going to have in here is the starting number. So this here is what we're going to use for our significant figures. That first number. Okay? And the rule for multiplying and dividing is you count how many significant figures, and then the smallest number is how many your answer needs. So there's only one number we're going to use, is this one. So this has 3, so our answer needs 3. So it's going to be the 7, the 4, and the 8. And we look here and see if the 4 rounds the 8 up. It does not, by normal math rounding rules. So we end up with 74.8. And then our label that we're left with is whatever's left here, which is kilograms. And that's our answer. Okay. So that's what your problem should look like. Okay, and you must show the work, you must put in the labels, and you must show it in this way. Okay, I don't want to see any 165 divided by 2 point whatever. No, you need to show it like this. Okay. All right, second one. Convert 2.704 yards into inches. So we start with 2.704 yards. Again, you can put a 1 on the bottom if you want. I just leave it, is what I usually do. Okay, I'm gonna put the line for my second step. Now, I wanna go from yards to inches. So let's look, Let's look at our conversion sheet and see if we have yards right to inches. So I look at my length and I've got, let's see, I'm looking for yards or inches labeled. I got a yard here, but that's yards to meters. Got inches to centimeters, got inches to feet, and yards to feet. So I don't have a yards to inches. Okay, so really the only two things I can turn yards into are feet or meters by this. So I have to ask myself, well, which one is going to help me get to inches? Well, I can turn feet into inches. So if I turn yard into feet, then I can go feet to inches. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go, so I do yards, label that goes here, goes on the bottom so I can cancel it. I'm gonna turn this into feet. Okay, my conversion tells me 1 yard is 3 feet. So 1 in front of the yard, 3 in front of the feet. Okay, now I cancel my labels. I can cancel, so yards can cancel. Now I'm left with feet, right? But I'm not done. I want to be in inches, so I'm going to do another step. Now you don't have to calculate this. You just keep going. Keep going with the setup. So feet is up here, so feet has to come on the bottom, so I can cancel those, and I want to turn it into inches. Okay, and our conversion, 1 foot, 12 inches. So 1 in front of foot, 12 in front of inches. Okay, we're gonna cancel labels that can cancel. Feet can cancel. Okay, I'm in inches. So I'm checking the label that I have left. That's what I want to be in. So now I'm going to solve it. I'm going to multiply by anything on the top, divide by anything on the bottom. And I can, like I said, I can just ignore ones. So I'm just going to do 0.704 times 3 times 12. I get 97.344. Okay. Now, significant figures. Again, conversion, so I don't use these. I only use my starting number. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. My answer needs 4. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look here, the 4 does not round that up. Normal math rounding, so I get, hold on a second here. Okay, so I get 97.34. And the label that I have left now is inches. That's my answer. Okay. All right. So we got another couple examples here. You know, if you want to pause and try them on yourself, try them by yourself and see if you think you know what you're doing, you can come back, check your answer. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. I'm going to start this one. So 3.1 hours. Okay. We need to get it into seconds. I do not have an hour into seconds. I got hour into minute, and I can do minute into seconds. So hours on the top, hour on the bottom, minute on the top. Okay. It is 60 minutes equals 1 hour. Okay. My hours cancel. Then I go from minutes to seconds, and it's 60 seconds for 1 minute. Minutes cancel. So I end up with 11,160. Okay, now significant figure, same thing. Look here, there's 2. So it's first 2 here. Look here, to round that up, does not. So we end up with 11. Now, when you're doing it, remember you're rounding. Okay, a lot of people will run around this to just 11. You're not going to round 11,000 to 11. You're just rounding. So you would need zeros until you get to where the decimal would be, because you're just rounding it. 11,000. Okay, and our label that we're left with, seconds. Okay. All right. So we're converting 0.0890 miles into centimeters. So 0.0890 miles. Okay, we want to go to centimeters, and as you probably can expect, we do not have a miles to centimeters. If we look, we can turn inches into centimeters. And we can actually turn meters into centimeters, but I'm not going to do the metric to metric today. So it looks like the only one from this side that we have right now is inches to centimeters. So we need to get into inches. We don't have any miles to inches, but we do have miles to feet, and we know we can turn feet into inches. Okay, so we're gonna go miles to feet. So miles on the bottom, feet on the top. My conversion factor here, 1 mile, 5,280 feet. Okay. So miles are canceled now. Okay, we want to go, now we're going to go feet to inches. Okay, we know it's 1 foot for 12 inches. Okay, we cross out labels. Now that we're in inches, now we finally can go from inches to centimeters. We have that conversion here, and that is 2.54 centimeters for 1 inch. So 1 in front of the inch, 2.54 in front of the centimeter. So inches have now canceled for us. Okay, and we get pretty large number here, 14,323.1616. Okay, significant figures. So if we look here, oh, sorry, zoom out a little here. Okay, significant figures, if we look here, so when we're counting, it's decimal, so we count from the left side. So doesn't count, start with the 8, and then you count everything. So it's 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 significant figures here. So over here we need 3, so it's going to be the 1, the 4, and the 3. So we look here, the 2 does not round that up. I haven't had any that have rounded up yet. So this becomes 14,300. And our label that we're left with, centimeters. Okay. So that's the end of the examples, and for the end of the notes. Hopefully this helps and makes sense. If you're still confused, like I said, please ask questions. I'm also gonna put let me see if I can remove my phone. Actually, let me just do this. Okay. I'm also gonna show you. Okay, I'm also going to put this up, which is it's like a PowerPoint that kind of runs you through the steps in the dimensional analysis. Okay, and kind of like helps you out. So if you're still confused after the video lecture, you can go through this PowerPoint. I did not create it, but I found it, and it's pretty good. It sort of lays out like why we can do the things, like why we can do the math and stuff. So if you want a little more in-depth, I didn't want to run through the whole thing and make this a really super long video, but you can run through this. I'm going to put this up both in the resource section, the class resources, and on the and in the assignment as well. Okay, so you can run through that too if you need sort of a different way to look at it, or maybe kind of it explained a little more. Okay, all right. So then just go ahead, you can work on the homework. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Good luck.